I want to tell you about Robin. Before she found the Empowered Business Society, she was buying every course, every workshop, every tool that promised to move the needle, and none of it did. She said the experts she was following were giving her completely contradictory advice, and she had no idea who to listen to. Then she had one real conversation with me inside the membership, and she said it changed her whole trajectory. That's what EBS is built for. It's not another place to pile on information. It's the place where creator business owners actually implement, get real feedback, and stay current on what's working right now in the AI era. We do monthly Get It Done weeks, live coffee chats, member show and tells, and exclusive training that drops straight into the community. Members like Robin, Julie, Anna Joy, and Lane aren't just learning, they're building and growing businesses that are ready for what's coming next. If you're ready to stop figuring it out alone, EBS is $49 a month, and you can cancel anytime. Come check it out at society.empoweredbusiness.co, and let's build something meaningful together. The link will be in the show notes. Now let's dive into today's episode. Hello, and welcome back to the Empowered Business Podcast. I'm Monica Froese, and today I have a confession to make. Over 200 people filled out the welcome survey for the Empowered Business Lab AI, and I never responded to a single one. Not one. And I know I'm not alone because almost every business owner I know collects intake forms, feedback surveys, and check-in forms that go straight into a void. Today's episode was recorded live at my AI Exposed event, and my guest is Kate Kordsmeier of Success with Soul. Kate built what she calls an invisible funnel. Every single form her clients fill out gets a personalized, thoughtful response drafted by AI and reviewed by a human before it ever goes out. Her clients tell her things like, "This made me cry," and "You have a customer for life." It drives retention, and it starts sales conversations, it generates testimonials, and it's been running strong for 2 years. And here's the part I love. Kate is a self-described low-capacity entrepreneur. Chronic illness, 2 little kids, no big team, and no social media. Then, halfway through, we did something completely unplanned. We rebuilt her entire workflow live in Claude Cowork, cut Zapier out of the process, and it took about 10 minutes. Kate's Invisible Funnel prompt pack is linked in the show notes, so you can set this up for yourself. Let's get into it. Kate, welcome to AI Exposed. I'm so excited to have you.
Me too. Happy to be here.
So, what exactly are you going to be talking to us about today?
Yes. So I created this system almost 2 years ago now, but it is still running strong. And it is my automated workflow to make sure that everybody who submits a intake form, a check-in form, any sort of feedback form to us, that we are able to personally respond using AI with a very customized response. I like to think of it as human first, AI second, human last touch. So it does involve some manual work, but I think that's what makes the magic. And yeah, this is how I get my clients to feel really seen and heard and valued. And also it starts conversations that often lead to more sales.
More sales. Yes. Okay. So before we jump into, because you coined it invisible funnel, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So before we jump into what an invisible funnel is, the actual practicalities behind it, want to tell us a little bit about yourself, your business?
Yeah.
So people know.
Okay. Well, I'm Kate Kordsmeier. I live in Atlanta, but I'm actually spending the month of June in Santa Fe right now. So greetings from my Airbnb. And my business is Success with Soul. I really help people grow high profit, low maintenance businesses without social media. And without a big team, especially now, I think I am a very low capacity entrepreneur. I have chronic illness. I have neurodivergence. I've got 2 kids, small kids, 6 and 7 years old, and I don't have 50 hours a week to be putting into my business. So thanks to AI, I've been able to outsource a lot of that without having to outsource it to a very expensive payroll team, which is what I used to do. And it was very high pressure and stressful and not sustainable. So I'm very grateful for AI.
I would have to agree.
And so one thought that I had when I even first created this, and again, it was 2 years ago, so AI was much less like acceptable to use. And before we were doing this, nobody was getting responses. We had hundreds of intake forms and onboarding forms and other things that we were collecting student feedback and stuff from and we were never responding to them at all.
I don't respond to them.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
So that was why when I created this, I was like, well, even if it's not A plus, the best thing a human could produce, it's better than nothing. And that's what they were getting before.
So you're talking about like, for example, in the Empowered Business Lab, AI, I just looked at this the other day. I think over 200 people responded to the welcome survey alone.
Yeah.
I never respond to those. Sometimes I
No.
even forget to go back and read it until a year later.
Before AI, I was barely doing anything with it. Then I started, oh, well, let me export everybody's forms and have
Yes.
AI summarize what are the themes, that thing. That was very helpful to better understand who my customers actually were. Then it was like step two is I should really respond to these. Sometimes people are asking questions in there if they don't, especially for some of my larger programs like MBA. It's like this is huge. People are often feel overwhelmed. They don't know where to start. And so we can tell them and we can train our AI to know where to start based on what they say. And if they're struggling with this, start here. If they're struggling with that, go here. And so, yeah, now it went from doing nothing to analyzing the data to now starting these conversations. And Rachel says, I think she does at least 20 forms a week at a minimum. So we get, because we also added, once we saw the feedback, because we would send these responses out, and then our customers would get back to us and be like, I have never received a response like this from a coach before. People were saying, this made me cry. This was so meaningful to me. You have a customer for life. So then I have goosebumps saying it myself right now. Then I was like, oh my gosh, we need to do more of this. So some of my memberships and stuff, we added monthly intake forms or monthly check-in forms too. So every month, check in, tell us what's going on. What are you struggling with? What's a win? It's great for getting testimonials. And then we also continue the conversation. It helps with retention. It just does so many things.
I feel so called out right now. I can't even. I'm just thinking of all of the missed opportunity over the last 10 years, the amount of forms that people have filled out. It never.
Well, I think that's the thing. Focus so much. I'm not on social media. I'm not DMing with people there, which is sometimes where some of those
Same.
things might be
I'm not.
happening, right? And
I'm
so
not either.
I was like, I need to find a better way to start conversations with people. And depending on the form, now it's a selling point. Now you get monthly free coaching from us because you fill out your monthly check-in form and you get a response from our coach with personalized feedback on your exact situation. Now this is a value add to the membership.
Okay, I want to talk about how the whole thing functions, obviously, but I'm just so when I hear something and I'm just like, oh no, this is going to be a whole thing now for me.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this first. Name like all the types of forms that this process sits behind.
Okay. So I have, and I'm just, oh, I can't. Okay. I have a couple things to share and we can get into whatever we need to, but I want to share. Yes. So I call them like invisible funnels or feedback loops. And so I always have intake forms and exit surveys on all of my not one-time one-off payment things. So I have intake forms literally on every single product I sell, and I have a shop model similar to Monica. So I don't have as many products anymore, but I probably have 24. So every single one of my products has an intake form now. And then my memberships, things that people would potentially leave, have exit surveys as well. And those are really helpful too, because of course you understand why people are leaving, but then you can start talking to them about it. And maybe they're leaving because they didn't understand how something worked, or they didn't realize that the call was at this time. And so actually they could make it. And so whatever. So I have those two. Then I have I just call them like conversation starters. And so this is our monthly check-in forms. So I added this I have two memberships. So both of my memberships have monthly check-in forms. And then I also added it to the Mindful Business Academy, which is like my all access pass offer. So it's how you get everything in my shop bundled for a discounted price. So I have a monthly check-in form there because it's lifetime access. And so literally we get responses from people who bought 3 years ago, and then they'll be like, this is what I'm struggling with. And oh my gosh, this is what the room membership solves. And then they are like, oh, I didn't know about this. Let me join. And so all of these like often result in either people staying in the membership because they feel like they're getting support and they feel actually seen and valued. People buying, like we're doing cross sells or upsells into things, And so, yeah, so we have the check-in forms. I don't have those in all of my programs, like in all of my courses. That feels like if we're already
Too
getting
much.
like at least 2 dozen a week, I'm like, I don't know that we could keep up with that level unless we really were just like it's all AI and there's no human in the loop. And then I also have video ask on all of my sales pages. And so we have that hooked up as well so that when people leave a video ask, whether it's a video, audio, or written message, we have the funnel, sorry, the automation set up so that it can also respond to them with a Gmail draft as well. And anytime we use like any sort of chat bots or whatever, like we have a regular chat bot on our just our main homepage. And when people send a message through it, they're obviously talking with AI, but then we will send them a personalized Gmail email that says, "Hey, I know you were chatting with the bot. I hope that it was great. I know sometimes you just need to talk to a human though. So here's a real human here to talk to you about blah 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 whatever you were saying in your conversation." So those are the main
Okay.
ones.
I have always done intake and exit surveys, never followed, well, I can't say never followed up with it, but definitely over the year. I think I was better at it, honestly, in the early years of my business.
Hmm.
And then it's almost like there's so many moving parts as your
Yeah.
business gets bigger that things just fall off your radar. So I get that. I feel like that's going to be an easy win for me, actually.
Yes.
Tell me more about what you ask in the check-in survey.
Okay. Well, I could show you exactly. And here's our monthly check-in form. Okay. So they choose their name and then put the date. We ask them, how did you feel this month about your business? And then how satisfied are you with your progress in the program? What was your revenue this month? And usually we will a lot of people answer every single month. So we're able to then look back and say, oh, wow, your revenue has grown by X% since last time. This is for MBA, so we teach a lot of different things. So we also ask them, what have you accomplished inside the program? And they can just check, oh, I did this and that. I might get rid of this, honestly. I don't know that that is that helpful anymore, but I really haven't touched this in 2 years. It's just, this is working well. I'm not going to mess with it. What are you celebrating this month? Again, this often results in lots of good testimonials because they are sharing wins that they had. A lot of times when they share this, they don't just say, I made more money than before. They're like, I followed your friends and family template for this thing and I made my first $1,000 or something. Great for testimonials. Did you achieve the goals you set for yourself last month? What are your goals for next month? So just seeing like, where are you at? And then again, this helps us direct them to this might help you achieve this goal. So we can cross sell, upsell, or retain. Did you know our next Get It Done week is actually going to be on this exact thing? Where are you stuck and what's one thing we can do to support you? And then anything else you'd like us to know.
What gets people to fill this out? This is a pretty long form.
Yeah. I think people fill it out because they know that they get a personalized response back. And so they're doing it because they actually do have questions and are like, I am stuck on this thing. What should I do? Or, yeah, we
Now,
don't have any other incentives right now other than free coaching.
wow. And how do you present it to them?
Inside the mindful, if you fill out this form, you'll get KK credit to spend on anything we sell in the shop. So that is one way that we incentivize. But this is more like we're asking for testimonials, not just like we just want to hear what's going on with you. So here's the monthly check-in form. And so this is what we say. Most programs don't do this. Most courses give you a curriculum and a dead Facebook group and call it support. But in this program, we're actually giving you real personalized one-on-one coaching every single month for free. And so then it's just fill out this form here, and then the form is embedded into our portal. And that's it. That's all we're doing.
So you don't bring it up in emails again every month? Okay.
I was going to say, we do that. So we have an automation. I use Kartra, and we just have an automated sequence in there that says like at the end of every month, basically, like the last week of the month, send the thing that says, hey, reminder, fill out your monthly check-in form. This is how you get free coaching. This is how we can support you. If you're feeling stuck, especially, we'll get back and give you advice. And And I think we send that out 2 or 3 times over the last week of the month. And then it just, at the end of those 3 emails, it just loops back to the starting, like the start trigger of the sequence. And then it just does it again at the end of the next month. And it'll remove them. Of course, if they leave the program, then they're not still getting monthly check-in form requests. But yeah, that's how I think the emails are probably where most people are seeing it and then filling it out. I doubt people are like coming into the portal every month to do this.
But it also encourages them then to get back to the portal and then be
Yeah.
like, oh, now I should resume progress. Because that's one of the biggest things about courses too, is completion rate is really hard. We have a question in the chat. Does this mean that every single enroller of this course gets to fill this out every month for free coaching? Did I get this right? She got this right.
You got this right. That's exactly it. It's free email coaching every single month.
Well,
And
I'm mind blown. So now I know you're going to show us the whole process. So we'll actually see
yeah,
some of the examples of what coaching they get back out of this. That's so compelling that they come back every
yeah,
month to do it.
yeah.
Okay, well, let's talk
Definitely.
about it.
Okay, let's see. I have not updated this in 2 years, other than we've tweaked the prompt a little bit as we've learned, okay, we need to train this better on this. I still use ChatGPT for this. I don't use ChatGPT for anything else anymore. I'm like all Claude. I was actually looking right before this. I was like, I wonder if we should change it. And Zapier does have AI, the AI, I forget what they called it. It was something AI by Zapier. And so when you do that, you can actually choose the model. And so I think I would switch it so that it would be using my Anthropic. I've never connected my Claude to Zapier though. So you could set it up this way, or I'll show you how I currently have it set up. So basically what happens is the start trigger is a new record. So somebody fills out the form, and we have separate zaps for every single form type, right? So we have intake form for this program. So if we have 3 programs that we have intake forms, each one has their own zap workflow. Same thing for monthly check-in forms, whatever. So basically, you do the form in Airtable like I just showed you here. This is what the form looks like when a new record is created. This is going to flow. The next thing it's going to do is we say review, and then we just put all of the fields in here for what they answered. This is the intake form. So there's a lot of questions on the intake form. So this one is bigger. And then our current prompt just says, review their responses, and now use their responses to draft a conversational warm email reply to welcome them into the Mindful Business Academy, make them feel really seen and heard, answer any questions they ask. Definitely add constraints here. When we first started doing this, it would be like, we'd love to hop on a call with you and chat more about this. And I was like, no, 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 no. We don't do that. So do not suggest we get on a call. Don't make any promises about other things we're going to do for them or anything like that. And then it just start the email with, hi there, first name. Then we just have the instructions here. And it just says, you're acting as Rachel, who is the accountability coach for this offer. This is the tone and style. Here's the scope of functionality. This is kind of the broad abilities, whatever. And then we just say, so here's an example response so you can see how we would normally reply. So here's an example from her. Hi, I want to acknowledge how it came into this. And after reading your intake form, it's clear that blah, blah, blah. I'm genuinely excited for you. As you get settled, here's how I'd love for you to focus your next step. So it's start with this, move into that. Add this in when you're ready. And then we're going to usually give them some either mindset reflections or journal prompts or something like that, because a lot of times in their intake form, they're telling us, I'm really struggling with this, or I'm challenged by this thing. Don't forget, you have this kind of support inside the program. And then we list out some of the support that they get. And that's basically it. So we just give them the prompt is very simple overall, of just welcome them in, read their form, actually respond to the specific things that they're saying. So we're not sending the same things to everybody. And then we gave them more examples of and then here you can see like where we've trained it. So if they're seasoned and they already have an offer, then here's where we're going to send them. If they're overwhelmed or capacity is low, we would recommend starting with one of these courses instead if they haven't started yet. So these are the things that we would direct them to. More
Question
examples.
for you.
Yeah,
So this is connected to your OpenAI API key, correct?
correct.
Through Zapier. You can
Through
you can connect your API key for any of the open models to Zapier. And
Yes.
but Now correct me if I'm wrong. Since this is not, when you use the API keys, it's not accessing your main chat account. Therefore, it only knows what you have in this prompt, right? It's not educated on anything else with your business.
Exactly. So at the bottom here, these were just more examples of other emails we've sent. At the bottom here, you can see that it says assistant name and assistant instructions. And so when you can create a custom assistant in the OpenAI playground, I believe is what it's called. And you could give it more knowledge files and instructions and stuff like that. We didn't find that to be necessary once we started. The prompt was enough that it was getting it right. And honestly, as anybody who's had lots of clients knows, everybody struggles with the same stuff. So even though it is a custom response, it's usually one of five things that we're going to
Right.
respond with.
Yes.
So it didn't feel like we needed it to be trained more extensively, but you definitely could. And that's why I liked this idea of using the prompt builder in AI by Zapier, because you could upload some knowledge sources and it looked like there was a little bit more, it seemed just maybe a little bit easier than doing it in the OpenAI playground. But again, that's not how I have it. I just have a simple prompt and then assistant instructions just saying, this is who you are. And you've just reviewed their intake form and you want to support them with a reply that makes them feel valued.
In the chat, but with the prompt, is it not missing out on pertinent details of your business? That's exactly what I was thinking. Because I'm like, this is wild that it can get so close without it knowing all this history on you.
Yeah, I guess not. Before Rachel was doing it, I was doing it, and I didn't feel like it didn't understand who I was or background details of my business. I think giving them 5 examples of previous emails that I had sent out that were just truly human written really helped. And like I said, it's not that different from person to person. But we do say here, I think there's something. Yeah, it says we specialize in coaching online business owners on building profitable, sustainable businesses without social, build self-trust, take bold, aligned action, generate revenue through consistent visibility and sales efforts. And yeah, that was enough. And then it's reviewing what what the questions are and how the person responded. And so it's just been enough, I guess. I haven't felt the need to give it more. And again, it's not about me, it's about the client.
We got another question about this, and I want to piggyback on this too. I'm wondering, do your clients care that it's AI generated, or do they think it's coming from a person?
So we don't say it's AI generated. It does. So I'll show you how the rest of the workflow so you can see what it does. But basically, after that, it's going to go find the record again in Airtable just so that this is the same record that was created. We just need to get the email address and then it creates a draft. And so we have the subject line that we just set up, the from name, and then the body is just the reply that was generated from that AI step. And it doesn't say this was generated by AI or anything like that. And a human is reviewing it at the end. And one of the things that Rachel does do when she reviews it is she actually reads their intake form also. So she's not
Oh,
only
okay.
looking at what it says, she will read their intake form to make sure that it actually makes sense for what they said. I think this has not been an issue for a long time, but when I first set this up, sometimes it would be like, you did not focus on the right things about their intake form at all. It was missing things or it was misrecommending a next step. Again, we've tweaked the prompt now that it doesn't do that. But so I would say it probably takes Rachel 2 to 5 minutes per form. To what she does is she will then log into our Gmail account and there'll be like 50 drafts created for her, right? And then she goes in and looks at each one. She'll pull that person's form, she'll read it, she'll read the response, and then send it off.
People are definitely very focused on, wow, this is only prompt based with not a ton of knowledge of your business. Do you find that it is easier on intake forms because it's more like versus like the midweek or the
Monthly
coaching?
check-in form.
Yeah, the monthly check-in. Because I feel like the monthly check-in can probably be a lot more varied than an intake form for a specific program.
It definitely could be more varied, but I don't know. Again, you would be surprised. People are so much more similar than they are different. And so much of what people write in about is the same thing. They're struggling with fear of being seen. They're struggling with not wanting to be salesy. They're struggling with being consistent. And so honestly, it's once we trained it how to respond to those struggles, it just gets it. As this made me cry. I've never felt so supported in a program before.
So, Kate, think about this. And again, you did this 2 years ago. We know our options 2 years ago were nothing like it
Right.
is today. But now that we are all in on Claude, and that's basically what we've talked about this week with everyone else.
Mhm.
And I've mentioned Claude has helped me eliminate almost all my Zap usage. I went from paying $130 a month to I'm stuck on the $30 plan because that you can't go below that, and I still need Zaps for some things that I just can't eliminate yet. But
Yeah.
what if you had a scheduled task in Cowork that went in, looked for these responses,
Mhm.
and then it drafted a reply from your Claude account for Rachel to review. It would cut out the Zaps completely, and it would have your business knowledge then.
Well, right. Because Monica and I are in a mastermind together, and we've been talking about this and eliminating Zapier and stuff. And yeah, of course, I'd love to cut back on costs. I don't know how much it would cost me in Claude usage to do the same thing. So, it makes me want to do it right now. Okay, so what we're going to do here is literally come into Claude Cowork and create a new project.
Look at this. We're gonna do this in real time.
We're going to do it in real time. Why not?
Yes.
And we could just call this MBA intake and check-in forms. I might do that. I might just have one project maybe it's just going to be all client intake and check-in forms, right? Okay, so I think what I would do to start is I'm going to come back to this, and I'm going to copy. Can I do that from here? Let's see. I was just going to say I already have,
The
okay.
prompt.
I already have the prompt. Why is it not letting me select? Goodness gracious. Okay.
Right click, select all, maybe. Oh, you might have to be in edit mode.
Oh, good idea. Okay. Let's see. Let's edit this app. I'm going to come in here. There we go. All right. Thank you. So I'm just going to say something to it like, I currently have a Zapier workflow set up to respond to all of my client intake and check-in forms based on this prompt. And I want to eliminate Zapier and instead run this through a scheduled task in Claude that a few times a week, it will go into my Airtable, find new forms that need to be responded to, and then draft replies in Gmail for all of them. Okay, so right now, because I already have my Airtable connected as an MCP to my Claude account, this is going to make it really easy. As an Airtable, it found my MBA clients intake a monthly check-in form. Okay, the landmine. Neither your intake has a field that tracks replied, drafted. So this is basically what you were just saying, Monica.
Yeah.
Like, we need to see what you actually wrote back to them. Zapier handled new by firing on submission in real time, a scheduled task that wakes up a few times a week. Oh, can't rely on that. I see. It needs a way to tell which forms it's already handled, or it'll redraft the same reply on every run. Okay, that makes sense, right? Because there's not the start trigger of new form received.
Right.
Okay, so I think we would just add a tracking field. What's in scope for this? Both intake and check-in.
Oh, hold on. You're talking about the trigger to kick it off. Couldn't it be the email lands in your account? We get every Airtable form that gets filled out for me, a copy goes into our email account. So couldn't the trigger be every day it looks for an ticket form?
Okay, I like that. So let's go back.
That's how I would build mine. And I really do, yeah, once you do the replies, especially for the monthly people that are filling it out, having all that information in Airtable just makes your pulling that is so content rich then when you need,
Right.
when you're promoting the different programs, you can actually you can say, synthesize the coaching I did over the last 12 months for this program and what have people accomplished.
Yeah. Okay, actually, though, I see Sophia saying this in the chat, and I think this is right. Here's the exact prompt I was using before. I'm going to turn it into a skill to respond to, and then we're going to schedule the task so that it runs the skill. But because I did this in a project, I did that for a reason because I felt A, it can keep all of this stuff organized together, and B, I can point this now at my computer where I have the backup of our entire MBA program, and then it will be able to pull exactly from there. So it can be like in this lesson, on halfway down the page, it says blah, blah, blah. So it's not even just saying take the Tripwire Toolkit course. It's like it knows exactly what's in those programs. So let's see, I could easily do this by saying, let's choose a folder. And I have this right now. So I have on my desktop, I have a for Chat GPT. Here's all of my HTML backups for all of the courses. So now I've pointed it at that. So now it knows every single course and exactly what's in all of it.
Just an FYI. Yeah, that's you can do that, but it's the only ones you're putting on your own website are when it needs an output from Claude,
Yeah.
essentially.
Yeah. If you can't put it on your own website without using your API key if it generates something.
Okay, I follow. So cowork got you to the point of scheduling the task, right?
Yeah, so let's go back. Here's where we are. Baselining every existing row is already drafted. So that's good because I think that probably is more or less true. Tracking fields created. Okay, this would be heavy ID transcription. So I think this is just more for the history, not for the new stuff. And then server-side filtering works. Now creating the scheduled task. Okay, so I chose to do it Tuesdays and Thursdays. I'm going to change this because I always try to have my scheduled tasks run during non-peak hours so that I'm not using more usage. And then I might say to it, I want to create a skill that you can use every time you're drafting based on that prompt that I gave you. Plus, because this is for MBA specifically, I have given you all of the HTML backup files of the entire course so you can get really granular and hyper specific with your responses. Also, let me know if there's anything you would suggest I change about the prompt to get better output. So I'm just reading what this said now. I know we're at time.
We can go a couple minutes over. I just have to have transition time.
Yeah, okay. So Zapier is replaced by a scheduled task in Claude Cowork. That's great. It's going to drop personalized drafts in Gmail. The new form problem, your tables had no way to mark a form as already answered. So we added that box. Great. The backfill landmine, I'm not going to worry about that because we've already done all of those. So I think I'll just go in and double check that things are marked appropriately after this. The draft follows the voice and yeah, quick win. So two things, turn off the old Zap, hit run now to see it. Okay, so I'm going to give it that. I should have done that a second ago, but I'm going to give it this thing about the skill, just so we can make sure too that the skill is going to be the best that it could be. But it seems like it really understands. And if we look at this, oh no, it's not there. Let's see. Let's look at what this says. So this is the new prompt basically that Claude wrote based on my old thing. So you're drafting personalized email replies to Kate's new client, intake forms and monthly check-in forms. Create drafts, never send.
Kate, when you think about how long all those workflows took you to set up the first time, isn't it incredible how much faster it can go now with this?
Oh my gosh, yes, so much faster.
And how much better it probably is going to end up being.
I know. I know. I think having that prompt, and we have that my freebie for this is the Invisible Funnel Prompt Pack. So you can get the prompt pack, which gives you the different prompts that you could use for an intake form, for a check-in form.
Is that inside of AI or inbox? Because that's what I have as your freebie.
Oh, shoot. No. Well, I can give it to you separately. I thought it came with my presentation because it is a thing that goes.
Do you have a link for it that you want to drop?
Yeah. Let me drop it.
Let me just check in the back end, but I think I think that's what I have for you.
That could be right. I might have just spoken out of turn here.
People are curious how you hide your API code when you self-host. So they can't grab it essentially out of the HTML, I believe.
There's something in Claude you can tell it so that it stays hidden and it's not accessible to anybody else.
Oh,
That's all I've
okay.
done. Yeah. Okay, I might have to email the link to you after. I'm not exactly sure where it is, but I do have this so that you have the prompts to set this up for yourself so that you can, whether you're doing an intake or check-in, feedback loop form or whatever.
Yeah, if you want to just follow up in the group and start a post with it so people can
Oh,
grab
sure.
it. Yeah, that
Yeah,
works.
that'll be great. Okay. So we'll just summarize this real quick, but we just reset up this whole thing in a few minutes inside of Claude, and it knows how to read through the form. It knows how to pull the form. It knows how to review. And then here's the intake welcome email. So it's detecting the program. It's giving them a welcome, acknowledgement, customize, where to start roadmap, all of that. Okay. So that's great. So then oh, I need to go to the projects. Sorry, that's why. Projects, client intake form. So, all right, so this is creating the skill now for it. And it says the course files aren't actually here. Your project folder outputs are all empty. Okay, so I'll check that later. But in theory, you could do that. It's asking me a few questions about this, but this is all just specific to my offers and stuff. So it could do the same thing for you if you update your backup files and stuff.
I'm guessing AI your inbox. What is AI your inbox, the freebie?
Yeah, AI your inbox is how to use different AI tools to manage, triage your inbox, draft responses. It's not related to this invisible funnels thing. That's not going to teach you how to do those invisible funnels. We have different lessons inside of that course to help you cut down the amount of time you have to spend in your inbox each week.
Okay, awesome. And then what is it that you're going to drop in the group after this?
The prompts that I use to create the invisible funnel workflow.
Okay. So for anyone who is here now watching on replay or listening to the replay, because we're going to broadcast this on the podcast as well. Okay, you're going to pull from the Airtable record. You're just going to explain all of that to Cowork, give it the prompt path, and work with Cowork to get it a scheduled task done. It really, you just saw it prompts all along the way of this is what I need from you. So
I just find, and we've talked about this before too, like people think you have to be so much more tech savvy to do this. And I constantly will be asked, but how did you know what to ask Claude? And sometimes you don't even know. I just go to Claude and I say, I want to set up something that when somebody responds to a form, we draft a Gmail response to after reviewing it. And that's all you tell it. It could create something amazing for you with something that simple. You don't have to know all of the code. You don't have to know all of the way to develop things. You don't even have to know how the workflow is going to work. You can just ask Claude to do it for you.
yeah, and I talked about this on the connector session too, because before MCPs became a thing, I could not figure out Airtable. I don't know why. I am pretty tech savvy and I have set up very elaborate funnels in my business, and yet it just didn't click for me until the AI could go out and do stuff for me. And then once I saw my information coming to life inside of Airtable, I was like, oh, okay, now I get it.
Mhm.
But if I could, and I didn't even know what I was asking it to do. All I knew was that if I was going to keep running events like this, that I had to get a more centralized place to host all the information. And I was so resistant to Airtable. So when I went to go set up, I think the last event, which was the first big event I did in this group, was called AI That Sells. I did the intake form in Google Forms, and I quickly was like, this is going to get so messy where all this information is going to live. So at that point, Airtable released their MCP. So I just started talking in plain English of, I'm running this event. This is the information I need to capture. This is the stuff I need. And it just went out and did it for me. So I didn't have to figure out where all the settings were in Airtable and all of
Right.
that. And funny enough, I got an email from Airtable saying I'm one of their MCP power users. Who would have thought that was
Oh
ever?
my,
But the
yeah.
thing is, I don't even need to know how to use it because I just go to Claude and I'm like, go to this work. this workspace or the base, go to this Airtable base, and this is what I need from it. XYZ. And it pulls it, or I need you to update XYZ, and it does it. And I don't even have to figure out where all the settings are in there.
Right. And I don't
It's
know if you guys just watch me do this too, but this is something else that people forget they can do. Like this is saying, oh, your HTML files aren't there. And so I just took a screenshot and I'm like, yes, they are. And it's like, oh, you're right. Sorry. Let me go
Mhm.
find it now. But sometimes we think like we have to figure this out. And it's like, no, I just had to give it to it so that it could do it.
This is awesome. Just to reiterate, Kate's going to leave the link to the prompts in the school community. She's just going to create a new post after we're done on the call. And so you can grab it there. Rachel, have
Yeah.
the responses been up leveled since?
Yeah.
Because I'm going to guess this is going to probably compare. It was already good enough, right? I
Right.
feel like this is probably going to knock the socks off of people.
Yeah. And maybe it will get to a point. I don't know. This is going back to your point. I was going to say maybe it will be so good that we do remove the human review element. But there's a part of me that's just, I don't know. I like there being a human last touch on certain.
Yeah, well, and I think because you're also positioning it, well, here's the thing. I do think because you're positioning it as coaching, if you're not going to have a human in the loop, you're probably it would probably be, and I know how you are with in line with your integrity, you'd probably put a notice that like it
Yeah.
is coaching via like a bot essentially.
Right.
But when you do have human in the loop, I don't feel like you need to say that because literally the human's making sure that
Right.
it's saying exactly like what you would coach in this scenario.
Right. And I think I like that still because we already have a chat bot inside of these programs that is trained on all of the material. So they could just use the chat bot and not fill out the forms. But the whole point of the forms is to start human to human conversations. And so I think we would lose that if we were just like, oh, it just automatically gives them an AI generated response within seconds of filling out the form.
Agreed. In this time that we've been just chatting, her coworker has gone on to create a skill that has check-in replies, like so her examples. It has also created a skill with her entire course roadmap or map of
Mhm.
all of her course content because she fed it all of the HTML of her course content. So now these skills can be called upon when this task runs and the drafts are being done for Rachel to review. It's going to call on these skills and have all of this context that before, when she was using Zapier, it just had a prompt and it had email examples, but it had no reference to what was inside of her course whatsoever. So now you can imagine these responses, like she was saying earlier, can map. You can go, this is a specific spot you can find in the course that will help you overcome whatever you're dealing with. This is, I feel, I honestly, Kate, I was blown away that it would work just on a prompt without your business knowledge,
Yeah.
but I just feel like this is going to be so much better. And again, I hope everyone realizes Kate and I did not come on this call with I just picked at questions and I'm just like, well, what if we did it this way? What if we did it that way? And we redid the whole workflow impromptu.
Yeah.
And while we're talking, if she had just sat down and did this with no distraction, you would have been done in under 10 minutes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely. And the thing that takes the longest is just Claude doing its thing, right? So it's
Right.
like I could go away and do something else and then come back and be like, wow, that's done. That just is blowing me away. Yeah.
Plus, now I'm sure that this is going to be a whole training that Kate puts together. So when she puts it together, she'll come and post and let you guys know how to get it.
Yes. Thank you. I appreciate that.
All right. Well, I think I have to end now because we do
Yeah.
have another presentation starting at 2 and I need to eat something.
Okay.
Talking
Well,
all
thanks
day.
for having me. I'll definitely post in the school channel, y'all. So make sure you go there to find the prompt pack that I'm talking about.
Yes, and we'll make sure to put it on in the podcast show notes if you're listening on the podcast. A lot of bandwidth being taken from you, even if you're the one that's going to review the drafts and you don't have a Rachel or a Natalie.
Yeah.
It's
And
still
one last thing I'll say too, because people were asking this, are people pissed that it's AI? Nobody, to my knowledge, has ever said or even asked, was this generated by AI? So I think people don't care. What people want is the result, is the feeling, it's that thing. They don't really care how you got to it. And so again, before this, they were getting nothing. now they're getting something and it's just getting better and better. Yeah. And that's really interesting to hear. I'm sure that some people have thought, oh, this was AI.
Yeah.
There's tells, a
Yeah.
lot of times you can tell. And a lot of times it's like, I would never be that thorough. I couldn't do that personally for all of my clients. I would never have time to do anything else.
I really truly feel like though, what AI helps us as coaches to be able to do is actually help you more because we're humans. We have the same 24 hours in the day. So if AI helps us get to the answer faster so we can help you more thoroughly and more in depth, like why like to
Right.
me, this is a win-win for everyone, you know?
I love that. Right. And that's what we do is we answer your question, we point you in the next right direction. And then if you write back to us, now we're human to human having a conversation,
Correct.
right? And so, yeah, I think it's one of the best things I've ever created in my business. I've talked about it on a lot of summits before, but I'm glad that it seems to really be resonating with everybody here.
Yeah. Honestly, I am gonna go grab a cheese stick
Yeah.
before the next
Go
one.
eat. Go
Okay.
eat.
All right, Kate. I'll
Okay.
talk to
Bye,
you later.
everybody.
Thank you so much.
You're
Bye.
welcome. Bye.